I've always believed that the best way to understand a place is through its food, but sometimes what you see between meals tells an even deeper story. I was in Paris, my favorite city in the world. The air smelled of butter and sugar from a nearby patisserie. I was walking along the Seine, the lights of the Eiffel Tower starting their nightly twinkle. It was perfect, a postcard moment. Everything was beautiful, romantic, just as I'd imagined. But then, under the Pont Neuf, I saw a small city of tents. Blue and gray, nylon shelters huddled together against the cold stone. People were making a home in the shadow of Notre Dame's recovering spires. It wasn't just a few tents, it was a community. A silent, heartbreaking village in the heart of all that beauty. The contrast was jarring, like a tear through a beautiful painting. The smell of crepes suddenly felt a million miles away. This wasn't an isolated site. I saw it everywhere. Along the Canal Saint-Martin, in the doorways of Le Marais, near grand train stations like Gare du Nord, families huddled together with all their belongings in a few plastic bags. It was a quiet, persistent presence, a story unfolding in the margins of the city's grand narrative. It made me realize that Paris, this city I loved so much, was hurting. It's easy to come to Paris and only see the highlights, the Louvre, the croissants, the romance. But to truly connect with a place, you have to see all of it, the good, the beautiful, and the difficult. You have to see the people, all the people. This other side of Paris isn't something to be ignored or walked past. It's part of the city's modern story, a complex and human chapter that deserves to be seen and understood. Even in the most magical places on earth, life is real, and sometimes the real story is found in the shadows. I live in Los Angeles, so sadly, I'm no stranger to seeing people experiencing homelessness. Driving through my city, you see vast encampments that stretch for blocks. So, when I saw the tents in Paris, my mind immediately drew a parallel, a familiar sadness in an unfamiliar setting. In LA, the crisis is often linked to a lack of affordable housing, a mental health system in crisis, and addiction. But in Paris, the issue is deeply connected to immigration and the refugee crisis. People have traveled thousands of miles, seeking safety, only to find themselves stuck in limbo on the streets of Europe. The scale might seem smaller in Paris, but the density makes it incredibly visible. In LA, the crisis can be hidden away. In Paris, it's right in front of you. On the metro, in parks, on busy streets. This proximity changes your relationship with the issue. You can't just drive past it, you walk past it, you make eye contact. It's not a competition of suffering, it's a reminder that these crises, whether in Paris or Los Angeles, are about people. People who have lost their homes, their stability, and often, their hope. Whether the backdrop is a palm tree, or the Eiffel Tower, the heartbreak is the same. It's a global conversation we all need to be a part of. It's one thing to talk about a crisis in big, abstract terms. It's another to see the faces of the people living it. Near Place de la République, I saw an older woman arranging a small collection of worn paperbacks for sale. She treated them with such care, wiping the dust off each one. I bought a book, not for the story, but for the connection. Her gentle eyes told a story of resilience. Another day, I passed a young man with a dog curled up on his lap. He wasn't asking for money, just sharing a moment of peace with his companion. For many on the streets, a pet is family, a reason to keep going. I remember a family near Gare de l'Est, a mother helping her daughter with homework, a father watching over their belongings. They were trying to create a home on a patch of concrete. These aren't just sad stories, they're stories of strength. People holding on to their humanity with everything they've got. They are artists, parents, animal lovers, readers. They have pasts, dreams, and dignity. Seeing them wasn't about pity, it was about respect. It's a reminder to look past the tent or sleeping bag and see the person. A simple nod or smile can be a powerful act of kindness. These are the faces of Paris too. Their stories are part of the city's soul. To see them is to truly see Paris, and to remember that every city has stories in its shadows. Why is this happening in a city as wealthy as Paris? The answer is complicated. First, the housing crisis. Paris is one of the most expensive cities in the world, with sky-high rents and years-long wait lists for social housing. Migration plays a huge role. Refugees and migrants arrive seeking asylum, but the system is overwhelmed, leaving many in limbo without shelter or work. Mental health is another piece. Resources are scarce and support systems are full of holes. Once on the street, it's even harder to get back on your feet. Political challenges add to the problem, fragmented responses, camps cleared only to reappear elsewhere. While politicians debate, real people are sleeping outside, waiting for a solution. The crisis isn't hidden in forgotten corners, it's unfolding in the heart of Paris. In Le Marais, among art galleries and boutiques, people sleep in doorways. The banks of the Seine and Canal Saint-Martin, once places of leisure, now have tent encampments as a backdrop. This creates tension. Some locals feel unsafe, others are heartbroken by the lack of solutions. For travelers, it's confusing and emotional. You come for beauty, but you're confronted with reality. It challenges the idea of a carefree vacation and asks you to engage with the city on a deeper level. The experience of visiting Paris has changed. The city is asking us to see the whole picture, not just the pretty parts. The changing face of these neighborhoods is not a reason to stay away, it's a reason to lean in and understand. Paris is a living, breathing place with real-world challenges. Paris isn't just standing by. The city has opened thousands of emergency shelter beds and run solidarity buses offering hot meals and medical care. Grassroots organizations like Utopia 56 and Restos du Cœur are on the front lines, run by volunteers distributing food, blankets, and support. These efforts are life-saving, but the problem is growing faster than the solutions. Emergency shelters are full, and they're only a temporary fix. The real need is for stable, permanent housing, and there isn't enough of it. The government faces the monumental task of building more housing while managing immediate needs. Clearing encampments is controversial. People are scattered, losing their small communities and belongings. A few weeks later, a new camp forms somewhere else. It's a cycle that's not only ineffective, but also deeply dehumanizing. The challenge is immense, but so is the compassion of those trying to help. When we travel, we have a choice: stick to the tourist trail, or be a different kind of traveler, aware, present, and open. You don't have to solve homelessness on your vacation, but you can choose to acknowledge it. The first step is simple: see people. A nod or a quiet bonjour can mean a lot. It's about replacing judgment with a moment of shared humanity. You can also travel more consciously, support businesses making a difference, like cafes that hire people who've experienced homelessness. Your tourist dollars can be a tool for good. Travel can be an education. Read about local issues, talk to people, come home with more than just souvenirs. The things we see when we travel, even the difficult things, stay with us. They shape our perspective and grow our empathy. Seeing the crisis in Paris firsthand made it real for me in a way reading never could. It became a human story, not just a headline, and that's the kind of story that changes us. And maybe changes the world a little too. At the end of the day, it all comes down to empathy. Empathy isn't pity, it's connection. Paris can be both the most beautiful city in the world and a city with deep, painful problems. We have to hold both truths in our hearts. Ignoring suffering doesn't make the beauty more pure. The beauty of Paris is more profound when you understand the full human experience within it. We have a responsibility not to turn away. The person sleeping on a street in Paris and the person in Los Angeles are part of the same global story. Their story is our story. Let your travels open your eyes and your heart. The true light of Paris comes from the compassion we show to all its people. Food is the great connector. When we share a meal, we share a story. The world is our shared table. The cities we visit, the streets we walk, our common space. The people I saw on the streets of Paris are part of our shared community. What I saw in Paris wasn't a Paris problem. It was a human problem. And it requires a human solution: to see each other, to care, to remember we all deserve a place at the table. My trip to Paris was filled with incredible food and art, but what stuck with me most were the faces in the margins. They added a new, deeper layer to my love for this city. The most enriching travel experiences connect us to the real world, in all its beauty and pain. So, next time you travel, look for those connections. See the whole story of a place, and bring that understanding home. Let it change you, make you more compassionate, more aware. When we travel with an open heart, we don't just see the world, we become a better part of it. And that, I think, is even more delicious than the perfect pain au chocolat.